Welcome to the session on Introduction to Cloud Computing and AWS EC2. In today's session, we will be discussing about Introduction to Cloud Computing, followed by Introduction to Amazon Web Services, that's called AWS, then followed by different services offered by Amazon Web Services. So one of the important service from the AWS is EC2. So as part of session number 1, today we are discussing about these topics. Okay. So first of all, let me start with what is cloud computing, so that to understand, we'll be discussing more about the introduction part in the cloud computing. So according to the National Institute of Standard Technology, the cloud is a model which is enabling convenient on-demand network access to the shared pool of resources, with which we could able to connect with the different databases, PCs, devices, servers, and many more. We could able to communicate with each other on demand basis. For that regard, it will charge some prices. So we have to pay for that utilization, and we have to make use of these particular availability 24/7 into 365, which means anytime in any geographical location, irrespective of the location, irrespective of the time, okay, we can able to communicate with each other online, right? So the basic fundamental for running this cloud computing is, it is depending on internet service. If internet is not available, then cloud computing will not function, right? So it is also again dependent on that internet. Of course, internet is depending on electricity and so on and so forth. So if you go basic further, then each and everything is depends on one. Okay. So first of all, we should understand the basic concepts of cloud computing, who introduced this cloud computing concepts, and what are all the features that are provided in this cloud computing. Let us see one after other, right? So any cloud, if it is coming into the market, must stand based on the NIST standard. Okay. So what are all these NIST standards are talking about? Let us see one after the other. So there can be a few characteristics before we go for the cloud computing patents or proprietary softwares, right? So if someone want to say to get the cloud computing, they must follow the statistics offered by this cloud computing. So these characteristics are agility, which means the fastest response is expected when you are going for the cloud computing. So agile always defines a fastness, high availability and reliability. There should not be any loss of data while communicating with each other. There should be high availability. There should be high scalability, where it can scale up as well as scale down, depends on the need of the customer. For example, you are using a cloud services, following the terms and conditions offered by the cloud computing, like in the form of SLA, service level agreement. So when the particular customer is in the need of high availability of the server establishment, one day on a sudden, you can always request for them, the cloud service providers, with which they can able to get an instance support from the cloud service providers, right? So that is called a high availability. Whenever they are in the need of less services or servers or the databases, then based on the request, they can be adjusted. So that's a high availability, high scalability. Ups and downs can be happen here in terms of need. Whereas multi-sharing, so this also another important characteristics called multi-tenant, that's mostly useful for the multi-sharing purpose. Apartment is a best example for multi-tenant, right? So we can use all the facilities provided in the apartment in the form of maintenance, like lift, commonly shared by among the all the apartments here, right? Similarly, they can also depend on the services like laundry. They can depend on the uh, services offered by the people who are coming and entering into that particular apartment as a grocery services, all those. Similarly, device and location independence, maintenance, low cost mostly, because most of the end users are looking for which cloud service provider are going to pay a lowest cost for the particular service which they are offering, so that there is a chance of taking that particular service from the cloud service providers, isn't it or not? Otherwise, it will be a bit difficult to attract the customer when there are more prices in that particular service. So there are many more services from the many more providers. We will see one after other. Like as part of these characteristics in the cloud computing, you name it, any cloud must follow these characteristics. Must follow these characteristics. And services in the pay per use model. Pay per use, for example, pay per use means in order to travel from one city to another city, you can use any transport facility. Other than that, you can also have your own vehicle and use that vehicle to you reach that particular destination city, isn't it or not? But in order to use our own vehicle to travel from one city to another city, obviously what happens, we need to maintain that particular vehicle. We need to maintain that particular vehicle, yes or not? For example, I am here in this particular location, let us say Vijayawada. I want to travel from Vijayawada to Hyderabad city, yes or not? Let us say, so for this particular, I am just giving an example here, to reach this transportation facility can be of our own or for the rental purpose, yes or not? It will take you to reach your destination. For that you are paying for that particular money. Either you can take it as a rental or you can have your own. What are the differences to go with these particular phases? Either it can be a own or it can be a rental. Rental means only the person who is traveling can give certain amount. The rest of all will be taken care by the rental person. Whereas if it is a own, you must make sure your tires are in the proper, your petrol is available, your fuel is available, your car is under condition or not. All those need to be taken care of. Exactly here in the cloud computing also, we are taking the services in the form of rental, and for that we are paying. So that is the reason why we are saying it as pay as you go. Okay, depends on the money that you have. Okay, depends on the agreement, depends on the money that you have spent here to travel. Okay, as per that. See, similarly, milk, for example, you need not always have your own cow and get the cow milk at your home. You can instead go to the shop and purchase a milk packet, and for that you can pay a 35 rupees for a half liter, and you can get it. So you're paying certain amount and getting the services back from that particular shop. So exactly here, these are the characteristics we have in the cloud computing, where which will offer us certain services, and these are the must and should compulsory characteristics provided by different cloud service providers. Okay, coming to the advantages of cloud computing. Let us say there are many more advantages, as we have seen a few advantages here just now. Similarly, we have certain advantages as I have mentioned here. The advantages of cloud computing, it is an unlimited storage capacity. If the user is coming up with a 10 gigabyte, for example, 100 petabyte, 1000 yottabytes, zettabytes, doesn't matter. Cloud computing is always for us to take the storage as per the customer demand. Okay, obviously for that it will charge, and always remember, it is not free, the charges are applicable, right? And data security means, just now we have seen the data should be high available and reliable, right? The same case, data should be reliable and security. So these cloud service providers are assuring us that they will provide the data in a secured manner. Means there is no loss of data while sharing back to the customer when they are in the need. Similarly, when they are trying to give some information, okay, so the data should be secured enough during the transmission period, right? There should not be any man in the middle attack. There should not be any flaws or breaches in the data communication. So cloud computing is highly ensuring that there is a data security. It's one of the important advantage that we have in the cloud computing. Similarly, backup and restore data. This is compulsory in every cloud computing service provider. Otherwise, due to some disasters, due to some natural calamities, if something happened bad, due to which the data stored data centers are not in a position to work, for example, but even at that time, it's supposed to have a backup in different available zones, so that the customer who are in the agreement are not going to lose anything. So it's always data is going to be restored by other data centers, and whenever it required, it is going to return back to the customer again. So improved collaborations, excellent accessibility, and low maintenance, mobility, services, pay per use. Isn't it or not? These are the different types of advantages of cloud computing. So depends on the need of the organization or the customer's demand, they are looking for the different deployment models of the cloud computing. Depends on the need, obviously. The type of work of that particular organization, the mode of the operations that particular organization is looking forward for cloud computing. Accordingly, they will choose the different deployment models of cloud computing. There are 4 different types: public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud. Public cloud is always, as an example for the public cloud, is Amazon Web Services, Azure Microsoft, and Google Cloud Computing, and Alibaba Cloud. There are many more where the organizations are want to communicate in a broad range, where it should reach to every nook and corner of that particular region. So they are going for the public cloud. Similarly, private cloud. Eucalyptus is an example for private cloud. Open Nebula. Similarly, we have different types of private cloud computing. So community cloud computing and hybrid cloud computing is a combination of these public and private clouds. We have seen all these in the cloud infrastructure and services and cloud computing course in the prerequisites of this particular course. These are the different types that we have among the deployment models. If you see the parameter, a service provider or the users generally in the general public, whereas if it is a private, the selected users, hybrid, selected users, community members. Coming to the access over the internet, for private, internet as well as VPN, for hybrid, internet as well as VPN, community, internet as well as VPN, whereas ownership in the public cloud is service provider, private cloud, enterprise, hybrid cloud, enterprise, community cloud, community. So before we go for all those in detail, first understand what do you mean by an on-premises. What are the different cloud service models we should understand? There are three major cloud service models, starting from infrastructure as a service. We shortly call it as IaaS. Similarly, platform as a service, as you can see here, platform as a service. Whereas we have software as a service. Three major cloud services we have. Those models are telling you that. Whereas in the on-premises, the local system, when the particular developer is trying to use, what are the ways that they can manage their services here when we are in the on-premises, compare these with the cloud service models. Okay. So when you see this diagram carefully, the first column is stating you that it's an on-premises. You see, you have to manage all these listed here when you are going for the on-premises. See here, applications you have to maintain, data you have to maintain, runtime you have to maintain, middleware you have to maintain, operating systems you have to maintain, virtualizations you have to maintain, servers, storage, networking, all these are the responsibility of the owner who is using that on the premises. Same like the owner having a car, want to travel from one city to another city, need to maintain the car cleanliness as well as fuel responsibility, as well as the maintenance. If sudden breakdowns happens, maintenance charges, service charges to travel from one place to another. All the headaches of our on-premises means the own vehicle, please assume. Whereas when you go to a different cloud service models available in the cloud computing, starting from the infrastructure as a service, you have to manage only application, data, runtime, middleware. That's all. The rest of the services managed by the cloud service providers. What are those? Operating systems, virtualization, servers, storages and networking. These five major things are maintained by your cloud computing only. You need not maintain. You just take care of your data, take care of your application, look after your runtime applications. When you wanted to upgrade a latest code, for example, Python you are using, Python 3.6, you want to upgrade from Python 3.6 to 3.9, let us say. Then the runtime you have to take care. Similarly, the middleware, all these you have to take care, but the rest of operating systems, virtualization, servers, storages, networking, and all stuff maintained by your cloud computing service providers only. Let us say AWS. If you see, AWS will take care of that. Similarly, platform as a service. Just you need to manage application and data in the platform as a service, because the entire platform is with you. You only work about your code, your data, what kind of data you want to reflect to your customer through that particular application app. That's all. And coming to software as a service, the whole scenario will be taken care by your vendor, that is called cloud service providers. For example, Gmail. Gmail, simply you are logging into that. That's all. The way how it is appearing on the screen, how they are going to communicating from one mail account to another mail account, you are not bothering at all. The only thing is you are just operating the options available in that particular platform. That's a software as a service. We have many more examples for the software as a service. For example, your Dropbox. Dropbox is one of the cloud service model, comes under into software as a service. Your Gmail, your mail services, these are comes under into cloud service models. Many more are there when you deep dive into it. Similarly, this is the final architecture given by the National Institute of Standard Technology. You see, cloud consumers, who are the users, cloud auditors, who will look after the security, different audits, impact audit, performance audit, maintenance audit, security audit, different. The orchestration of the cloud service provider look like this. Services like SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, resource abstraction and control layers, physical resource layers, hardware and facilities. Coming to the service management like security as well as privacy, business support, provisioning, all these are looking after your cloud orchestration along with the cloud broker. There are service intermediation, service aggregation, service arbitration. All these are the final orchestrations of your cloud offered by NIST, National Institute of Standard Technology. If you see, for example, if you see here, one of the example I am coming up with, that is called Amazon Web Services. As I told you, there are many more. There are many more cloud computing services. Yes or not? Out of which we are discussing about AWS. AWS also called as Amazon Web Services. So what is the story of this Amazon Web Services? Along with this cloud computing AWS, there are many more like Azure Cloud, GCP Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud. Similarly, we have Nutanix. Similarly, we have Tencent Cloud. Similarly, we have something like Open Nebula. Similarly, we have something like OpenStack. Okay, Cloud Stack, OpenStack, Eucalyptus. Like that, there are various ways of service providers we have, out of which we are looking after the gigantic cloud service providers in the market, which is having around 60% of the market, AWS. 60% of the market is in the AWS. According to the Gartner report, AWS plays a vital role. Is a leader of cloud market. Is a leader of cloud market. That's why we are preferring Amazon Web Services. Let me show you. Before we go for AWS in detail, first understand who introduced this Amazon Web Services. Jeff Bezos in the year of 1995. He has established as a American multi-billion-dollar company with headquarters in Seattle, Washington, USA. He started it as a online bookstore. Later, he further extended into digital versatile discs, sales, compact discs, CDs, videos, MP3, download video streaming. Like that, he expanded into the video games, electronics, and the Kindle ebook reader. Like that. Later, in the year of 2006, he came up with Amazon Web Services. That's where the cloud computing era started into the market. After that, the many more cloud computing service providers came into the market. Like for example, Azure came into the market in the year of 2010. Like that, different cloud service providers came after the establishment of Amazon Web Services. So the first who coined cloud computing concept in the market, Amazon Web Services. Which year? 2006. So this is the first step towards the major cloud computing services. And the website for this Amazon Web Services is, please understand, the website for Amazon Web Services is www.amazon.com. www.amazon.com. From this, we are trying to operating our cloud services. Okay, into the market. There are many more services. How they are offering? Please understand. There are, as on today, I am telling you, as on today, there are 31 regions offered by AWS. There are 99 available zones. Offered by AWS. There are 200 and plus services offered by AWS. What else we require? There are very huge the number it is. Very huge number. So now we are looking after what we are doing. We are looking after what do you mean by a region? What do you mean by an available zone? How the communication is established among, and thereafter we will look into one of the service offered by Amazon Web Services. So this is how the region looks like. You see, this is the world map. This is the world map. So let me tell you, in this world map, so let me rub these all other cloud service providers. Let us only focus on the Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services. Let us see. Now here we know that there are 7 different continents. Yes or not? In this, US East, US West, Okay. Similarly, we have Africa, we have Europe, and we have something like Australia, and we have Antarctica. These are the different continents, right? So in every continent, they are trying to establish a region, except this Antarctica. The rest of 6 continents having the regions for the AWS. Let us see how they are operating from here. US East will work independently as one region, as one zone. Within this, there are many more regions. Let me highlight those regions with the circle, filled circle. Okay. Let us say US East coming up with the North Virginia. North Virginia. Like that, there are many more US East 1, US East 2, like that. Similarly, US West we have, North and South. We have, this is also operating individually. We have Ohio here. Like that. US West 1, West 2, West 3, like that. California. All those are as a regions. I told you, there are 31 regions. 31 regions. 31 regions spread across these 6 continents in the world map. That's why I'm trying to explaining here. If you see the slides, the world map you can see. In this, the Africa and Europe, these together. And this is 6th one, Asia. These together will be working as a Middle East. Middle East. And Asia as well as Asia as well as Australia, these two are working as Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific zones. So like that, the 6 continents are categorized into. So our India, there are 2 regions in India. One is Mumbai and another one is Hyderabad. Very recently, in the year of 2023, the region in the Hyderabad is established. Every region, I mean to say, every region will have minimum of 3 available zones. Minimum of 3 available zones. See, please understand, we are here, we have 2 regions here. Each region consists of minimum 3 available zones in it. Because these 3 available zones, the data is guaranteed. Each available zone clustered again further into data centers. Okay, if you see in this second map, if you only focus on India, Mumbai, there are 3 regions. Because it is Asia Pacific, we are denoting it as AP. AP South 1A, AP South 1B, AP South 1C. Remember, there is no AP South 1D because there is no 4th available zone in that particular region. This is how the regions. And if you see the complete picture of the representation of region and available zone naming, this is compulsory for every service which you are learning for. US East 2A is one of the example. You see, this part is called an area. Which area? This area. US East, because this is East one. And 2A because 2A, 2B, 2C, like that, depends on the number of available excuse me, depends on the number of available zones. The representation is going to be mentioned here. This is the number of available zones. AZ means available zone. This is the sub area. I told you, I just mentioned. This is the region, entire region up to 2. This is available zone up to A. Please understand this. This is very, very important. So this is how we should understand about the cloud computing. And now what we are trying to learn today, in today's class, let me rub this. What we are trying to learn this is, we are trying to learn an important service offered by AWS is called EC2. Let us say there are many more services offered by AWS. I told you there are many more 200 plus services. The first important service is called a compute service. Compute. In compute, because compute is one, storage is another one, database is another one, and network is followed by the network. Now the first one we are learning as EC2. EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. How to create a free tier, how Amazon management console looks like, all those we already aware of. So today EC2, if you talk about, which comes under into the category of compute, and we can make n number of virtual servers with this. Like you can make Windows, you can make Linux, you can make Ubuntu, you can make what not many more. What not? Many more. After opening an account, open AWS account, enter into Amazon console, management, then in search type EC2. Type EC2, you will be directed to launch it. Launch. After launching, what you have to do? You have to select the number of instances. Instances you would like to launch. Because what you are trying to launch here? You are trying to launch a virtual server. What kind of operating system we call it as? That can be depends on the AMI, Amazon Machine Image, whether you want to go with the Windows or Linux or Ubuntu or what are the market available in the AWS AMIs can be displayed here. You select it, choose network, choose subnetwork, choose security group, choose key pair, and then followed by view instance, launch and view and launch. This is what you have to do. Let us see that in the practical way. Okay. So what you are doing here, you can directly go to your internet web browser, open aws.amazon.com. aws.amazon.com. All these steps I have mentioned, don't worry. I have mentioned here in the slide. The steps are already mentioned here to go with. The same steps I am explaining here. Okay. So what I am trying to do here is simply I am just opening the browser, signing into it, signing into AWS management console with the root account. So I have my own root account here. that is, for example, I am using my mail to naresh2@gmail.com. This I am entering my password here. This is how the AWS management console looks like. Yeah, exactly. Right now we are in the Mumbai region. How to see that? Go to the top right corner, Mumbai region. There are many more regions. As I mentioned, there are 31 regions. You see, there are 31 regions. Okay, you can see the lot of the demand that is there in the market for the Amazon Web Services. It is in the almost leader position, right? So there are many. See, if you want to see the geographical location of AWS, this shows you the global infrastructure for the Amazon. There are 31 regions, 19 unavailable zones, and 450 edge locations. This is how it is occupied. You see, in India, as on today, there are Hyderabad and there are Mumbai. You see, 2 available zones, 3 available zones, 3 available zones, 6 available zones. If you see in the North Virginia, you will be finding 6 available zones. So depends on the region. Minimum 3 available zones will be there. And there are many more to understand in this. Please find a free time and deep dive into this global infrastructure. Okay, so this is how the AWS management console looks like, as you can see on the screen, right? Simply go to the search and type EC2. Type EC2. You see here virtual services in the cloud. Virtual services in the cloud. This is what we are going to launch today. Click on EC2. And then it shows the dashboard, the existing dashboard, right? Just click on instances. Click on left side pane instances. You can see there are no instances as of now. Top right corner, go and click on launch instance. Go top right corner and click on launch instance. You can see steps one by one. Launch an instance. You can give the name of the instance. Let us say I am typing Naresh. Remember, every service offered by Amazon Web Services is going to charge you. Please understand. If you know the limitations of every service under the free tier account, then safely you can handle these services without incurring the charges, right? So I am telling you, you just follow the procedure what I am mentioning here, right? EC2 is the name of my launch instance, and here I am using Amazon Linux. This is my AMI, and this comes under into a free tier. You see, I have clearly selected a free tier eligible, and now 64-bit AMI. Next, it comes under into a free tier instance type. Now, I would like to create a new key pair. This comes under into a Rives Shamir Adalman, that is RSK, Naresh K pair I am using. Let us say key pair, and just because it is a Linux, use PPK always, because it knows only the private key, right? Whereas for the Windows, use pemfile.pem. It will be stored in your local system. You see in the downloads, you can see that. After that, go to the security group, create a security group, and enable all the options which are available here, because you want to deploy an application. Deploy an application as part of our application development on cloud course. We are going to deploying a simple web page. Then choose the minimum storage, that is 8. If you cross the limitation, that it will charge. So that's the warning you will get. And then go to the advanced details. Nothing you need to do now in the advanced details. Simply look at the summary. As it is very clearly mentioned, there are one number of instance I am looking for, T2 micro, one volume of GB, and that's all I want to launch my instance. That's all I want to launch my instance. So for instance launching, it will obviously take 2 to 3 minutes time. So we have to wait 2 to 3 minutes of time, because it will take some time for us to create an instance and launch an instance, because we are going to launch a service with which an outsider from the internet can able to access it. If you see the scenario here, which I mentioned, for example, let us say this is the network. We call as a VPC network. Within this network, I have subnets. Let us say my EC2, let us say Linux, I have launched here. To interact with this particular application, an outsider through the internet connection is trying to enter into this particular EC2. An outsider user, cloud user, who is trying to enter into this. This is a network, internet. He is trying to enter into this. So he must know an IP address. He must know an IP address of the same IP address which had in our virtual server. Whoever knows the same server, this particular route table, router or VPC, will be taken care in issuing the direction to that particular EC2 to interact with this particular application. So usually what we will do, we will launch an Apache service, Nginx, like that. We can launch a load balancer, auto scaling, n number of you can add on once you understand the importance of EC2. So just launching is failed because there are certain types of spot instances where those spot instances are not readily available to launch for you. So for that regard, you have to select a reserved instance as well as a dedicated instance, because always spot instances are not readily available to log in. So let me show you with my another account. For example, let me log in into my account. We'll follow the same procedure for all. So this is the present account which I am using in the Mumbai region. Typing an EC2 here. Open that EC2, the same procedure whatever I have discussed there in the board, I am trying to launch the same EC2 instance here. So go to the instance and click on the instance and click on launch instance, top right corner. Give a name as Naresh EC2 to 2023. Okay. Now Linux free type 64 bit and keypad, and I am typing it as Naresh keypad 2023. Any name you can give. There is no, absolutely it is fine. There is no problem at all in giving the key pair name. Will be stored in your local machine. Just go to the summary, check out the number of instances that you have and click on launch. That's it. It will take you to launch your EC2 instance. Yes, isn't it or not? It is successful now. Creating a EC2 instance for your latest account, right? So what you can do now here is just click on view all instances. Click on view all instances, guys. Obviously it will take you to a running mode, and once the status check, if you see here, this has to pop out as 2x2 check pass. One is system instance and another one is system and another one is instance. These two health checks are mandatory to connect with your EC2 instance. Yes or not, guys? So once you launch your EC2 instance, what you can do here is you can start working on connecting with this particular EC2 application. So in order to connect with this EC2 application, you should always remember connect. The EC2-user you have to come up with. What I have done here, I have simply connected with, see, wonderful. My EC2 is ready now. Yes or not? What I did, I simply selected my AMI, Linux, selected the security group, selected the key pair, launch. Just 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, you can able to launch your EC2 service. So this is how you are going to work with your EC2 Amazon Web Services. EC2 Amazon Web Services. So that's all for today. In the coming classes, we are going to discussing about many more services offered by Amazon Web Services, because our course is completely depends on AWS. Application Development on Cloud course is focused more majorly on your services. What you can do here, you can simply log in as a root and you can try to install yum install httpd-y, and you can change your security groups, you can launch your web pages, you can do whatever the stuff you want. You can do it just by using all the applications, all the instances, all the services which are offered by this Amazon Web Services. Isn't it or not? You can simply go there, check your security, check your role, check your security group, and if you want to add any additional services, if you want to add any other additional services, you can simply go to Windows Wizard 2 and try to add HTTPs in your security group. In the inbound, there is an option for you to always add many more services. You can just simply go there, use your HTTP and give an option called anywhere, select HTTP again for the anywhere and just access it, save rule, go to your service called service HTTPD start, and you can check service HTTPD status, it is running. Just copy the instance IP address, whatever the IP address is running, go there, take the current IP address, take it. The public IP address is 65.2.186.51. Take your browser and just enter. It should show that it is working. It is working just by copying 62.2.186.51. You can deploy your own static web page by using this particular method EC2. Okay, thank you.